hello, and good Monday afternoon. You're listening to 93.3 CFMU, redefining radio in your community since 1978. And you just heard 2 tracks off Godspeed You, Black Emperor's latest album. My name is Ruth. I'll be your host for the next hour, and today I have a special guest in the studio with me. Abbie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Abbie. I'm a second year at Mac. I major in communications.
Okay, awesome. So today's show is going to be a little bit different from the usual programming. Abbie and I have each picked a newly released album, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. So Abbie, which album did you pick?
So I picked I'm Not Afraid of Music Anymore by Coin.
Awesome.
It's their 6th album since their debut in 2015, and the band hails from Nashville, and they pride themselves on being sort of alt-pop band.
Nice. Okay. So how did you discover them? Did you know about them before this album before?
So I actually remember the specific day I found the band.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I was in 10th grade, and I was kind of figuring out what music I wanted to listen to, like, outside of what had been, like, introduced to me by my sister and my parents and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I'd gotten really into bedroom pop and surf rock. And then one day I'm coming down the stairs at 7 a.m. getting ready for school, and I'm introduced to these, like, beautiful, like, synths, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was Crash My Car, by Coin. And I was just so mesmerized by it. I went to go listen to all their stuff. And they were teasing a new album. I think they teased it for like 2 years, which made me really angry. But yeah. And I've just been listening to their stuff ever since. And then they've also catapulted me into other bands, which like I really like. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. So talk a bit about the album. Like, what did you like about it? The genre?
Alrighty. Yeah. So in all honesty, I think it's their most generic album. Okay. It sounds like...
So are they usually more experimental? Like
their last album was really experimental, and then the album before that was also tethering that line. Okay. But this one's reminiscent of their first album and their second one. I forget the names. Forgive me. And it just really sounded like what you'd expect if you told ChatGPT to put Coin into an album for you, and that's what they came out with. And, you know, I asked some of my friends that like the band, I checked Reddit. Some people are like, this has the potential to be their best album, and the lyrics are really good. Yeah. I think it's very superficial. It's not there.
Really?
Like, they do tap into, like, the more rock version of themselves, but it kind of sounds like other bands, too. So,
okay, like who would you say they're, like, adjacent to?
So, their Song Problem, which other people seem to really like, and it's not bad.
Not to your case.
It really sounds like Brutal by Olivia Rodrigo to me.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. And it starts off by, like, referencing, like, Bruce Springsteen and whatnot. Okay. And, you know, some people do that and it's great, but the way they did it, it seemed kind of try-hardish, and it was really a turn-off to me, like, lyrically. Okay. But to each their own.
So, other than... I guess, were you saying that it was just that song that sounds like Olivia Rodrigo, or like they sound like other bands?
The first 2 songs sound like Rumors by the Driver era.
Okay.
And the rest, it's just like, oh, this reminds me of someone else, but not in a good way.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So, okay. So do you, like, then what, did you have a favorite track?
I did have a favorite track, yeah. Okay. I really liked Asking for a Friend.
Okay.
Because, like, I feel like everyone can relate to it, and it's really reminiscent of adolescence in a way. Yeah. The whole album feels like a coming-of-age album, kind of, which is fun to listen to, but it kind of sucks when that's also all they've been doing, so it kind of feels like you've outgrown your favorite band.
Right. So they're just kind of repeating what they've done before. So did you take a liking to the lyrics then, like just not the sound of it? Like, what did you dislike about the album?
What I disliked about the album was the familiarity of it all, because they've shown that they can step outside of the box, outside of their label. Like, they're alternative, not just pop rock.
Right.
But with this album, they failed to do that.
I see.
And it failed to, like, distinguish itself from the rest. Like, you could present me, like, Strawberry Jam or Olivia, and I wouldn't be able to tell you which album it came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. So it's not like their full potential.
No, it's not.
That you think. So what would you say is their full potential? Like album or song?
It depends what you like, right?
I see. Okay.
Like, I would say, objectively, their full potential was Uncanny Valley, which is their 5th album, and the one before this.
So what was different about that? The sound of it compared to this one?
The sound and the field, right?
Okay.
It jumps between, like, different genres.
I see.
And the pop songs aren't just, like, generic pop, right? It's like a bubblegum pop, and then it's, like, summer anthems, and then you've got, like, songs that are similar to power ballads and whatnot.
Okay.
Whereas in this one, it's the same thing over and over, and they're really short, too.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got, it's more diverse, like, catalog of songs, I can say. Okay. I see. That's cool. All right. Okay. So I guess we'll move on to the album that I chose. So I chose No Title as of 13 February 2024, 28,340 dead. So it's a bit of a mouthful there. By Canadian post-rock band Godspeed You, Black Emperor. Have you heard of this band before?
No, I have not.
Okay. So maybe for those who are kind of like avid like rock music listeners, you might know them from their 2000 album Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven. It's like the album cover with the 2 hands on it. You might have seen, if you see the cover, you might recognize it. But yeah, this latest one was the band's 8th album. Obviously, to start off, that really long title is, I think it's important to kind of say that it's an obvious reference to the genocide happening in Palestine right now. So that really sets the tone for the album before you even listen to it. So yeah, that left an impression on me before I even clicked play. Yeah. So in terms of the actual album, there are only about 6 tracks on this one. I know that the one that you picked has like 14, and it's kind of funny because this one has 6 and it's longer than yours, because there are about 2 songs on there that are more than 13 minutes in length, and the others are over 5 minutes, I think, with one, the 4th track being the exception, Broken Spires at Dead Capital. But yeah, it has a really, really long runtime for the whole album, but also just each track themselves. Yeah, and so it obviously features really kind of unconventional compositions. The songs are really long in length, but it also ranges in genres, like, between those songs. So I found that there were really, like, upbeat, bluesy rock songs, or moments, I'd say, in the songs. And then it kind of switched over to really mellow, like, string arrangements. So they were really experimental on this one. And there's actually no lyrics. So it's largely an instrumental album. So I think that it could be like a challenging listen for like the average listener, I guess, because it might throw people off about the runtime and stuff. But it's for those reasons, I think it's also really rewarding as well. Like, it's like one of those albums you kind of have to be in the right headspace for and like kind of sit on it. And it's very meditative, I'd say, and also considering the message of the album as well. But yeah, I don't know if you were saying that you kind of heard the first track a little bit.
Yes, I did. Okay.
What did you think about it, of what you heard?
It was really good.
Yeah.
And then it got really repetitive.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because there's no lyrics and it's largely instrumental. It felt very much like a soundtrack to me, right? Like a movie soundtrack. Yeah. But yeah, it was also kind of difficult to get through, I think, in one sitting. But yeah, I also kind of felt that, like I was mentioning earlier, it sounds like a soundtrack. And I think that you can kind of like, it paints a picture, the songs. I think it's on their own, maybe, yeah, like you said, a bit repetitive, but it's also kind of building a motif, I guess, of some sorts. Again, kind of going back to that title. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought of it. And also, I also kind of wanted to talk about the album cover art a bit, and we'll go back to yours on that too. For mine, like, it's kind of this picture of what I'm assuming is their studio rehearsal room. And it's kind of just a really, like, worn down. There's, like, tape on the walls. Doesn't really look like they put much effort into it, and, like, but in a good way, I guess. Like, it kind of goes with the message of the album that there's no title as of now, and they've kind of just this is what they have so far. This is like the state of our band, I guess, and the state of the world, right? So I think the album art like kind of connected with the songs as well. I think the album art is as important as the songs themselves, right? So because it's like the image of the music, right? But yeah, yours, right, is like a stone figurine. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
So I actually looked into it and I couldn't figure out what it meant. But the cover is basically a statuette that depicts two figurines in an embrace. Yeah. And then there's like a neon green background.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like, are you a fan of the band's aesthetic? Like, I don't know if they've built one.
I'm going to be so honest. I think like the neon is very on brand.
Yeah.
For like the past few albums, they've had like, not the covers, but like visuals associated with the songs. Right. So like for their singles, they'll be like neon and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's typical. But I'm not really immersed enough in the into coin to know if that has any significance, you know?
Yeah. I do like the font they use like for their band logo. Like it's I think it's like this is like the media arts student in me, but I think it's just like an Arial or something like that. It's like just one of those really basic fonts, kind of like Oasis has, but it's kind of impactful, I think. Like it catches your eye, and then they have the little ring around it, I think. But yeah, I think, and it's funny because, like in terms of Godspeed, they don't really use social media, I don't think. I think one of the members has them, but their management just posts for them. But yeah, this is another thing I kind of wanted to segue into, is like how kind of these albums are being promoted, the state of like music promotion and stuff, I guess, with like TikTok and things like that. Do you think that these are helping the artists, or it's like they're doing them a disservice, like by getting these artists to promote themselves, doing like little challenges and stuff and things like that?
Honestly, I see how like you'd get views and whatever, you'd get attention, but just because people are watching doesn't necessarily mean that they're engaging. That's true. That there's like looking to see what more you have to bring to the table. They just see, oh, this person did this, and it isn't necessarily helpful. Like, unless you're one of those influencers that specifically makes music for it to be used on social media, like the TikTok songs, I don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like, you were saying, like, how did you discover this band again? Like, through a friend, or like
through Spotify?
Through Spotify. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think like I guess like those kinds of apps and like get a bad rep now because they're not paying artists and stuff, but they do have like it's perks, I guess, because you can find a lot of great music through Spotify, right? Other kind of alternatives, I'd say, would be like Bandcamp or things like that. And even just like through word of mouth. Like that's how I found out about this band as well. But yeah, like I think that's pretty much it. Well, that's all I had for my album, at least. I guess, did you want to say anything else about Coin or the album itself?
Not necessarily, but I did have a question for you.
Okay, yeah.
Alrighty, so if you had to define the album using one word, what would it be?
It's a good question. I think experimental, or maybe just instrumental, I'd say, because there are no lyrics. But I think like they already kind of have established themselves as a experimental band. But yeah, maybe like if I was kind of describing the sound, I'd say like, or the genre, I mean, it would be like experimental or instrumental. But in terms of like the actual feel of it, maybe like meditative or something like that. Yeah, I think meditative or reflective, because again, with the messaging of it, I think it's really kind of letting the listener sit and like kind of think on it a bit and kind of like understand what it is they're playing to them, and think about what it's trying to say, and as well as the album title as well. What about you? How would you describe yours?
I'd say sweet.
Okay.
Or even bittersweet. Just because it's, like, really upbeat and fast-paced.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the lyrics feel that way. It's like a Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And, you know, if you are a fan of those two songs, then I'd suggest listening to bands like Wallows and Hippocampus and Dominic Fike, actually. In regards to Dominic Fike, his top song, or one of his top songs, is Chicken Tenders. And I love chicken tenders. I'm also a huge foodie, but that's irrelevant. On to my next question for you, though. What is your favorite food-related or food-named song?
Okay. So I'd say right now it's Chewing Gum by Amyl and the Sniffers. It's not really a food, but like you're just gonna have to work with me here because it's like the one song I could think of off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, it's a great song. They're an Australian punk rock band. And this is it's a track off their forthcoming album which is releasing on the 25th of October, I believe. But yeah, it's an amazing song. It's really cathartic and like it's just exciting to listen to, especially if you're like on a run or exercising or something like that. Yeah, it's great. Like it's about kind of being a sucker for love and like hopeless romantic and like, but kind of still having your own independence, but wanting to be stuck to someone, like chewing gum, right? But yeah, that is my favorite song with a food title right now. What about yours?
So mine's Chocolate by the 1975.
Okay.
Off of their debut album, the 1975. And I think because prior to being the 1975, they were Drive Like I Do. And a lot of those songs shifted over from the previous band onto the first album.
Okay.
Chocolate's not one of them, though. That's like a 1975 track, right?
I see. Okay.
And I think it really solidified to me, like, who they were as a group, like, who they were now. And that riff, the opening riff, just gets you. You can't understand a word of what he's saying.
Yeah.
But, oh my god, that song is groovy as heck. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk about the guitar on the Chewing Gum track, too. It has a really great guitar riff. A lot of their songs do, and it's just, like, it's just so... Like, as soon as you hear it, it's, like, it's so thrilling. And, yeah, like, cathartic to listen to. You kind of, it just gets you in the mood, I guess. But, yeah. Was there any other songs with a title you wanted to talk about?
Not really. But on the subject of cathartic songs, do you have any other songs that, like, have the similar feeling?
Yes. Right now, I'm into a lot of, like, hardcore music. It's a song called Mirage by some New Jersey band, Gel. I don't know if you know them or not. But, yeah, it's also got a really great guitar riff just throughout the whole guitar composition, throughout the whole song. And the vocal, like, her vocals are just really harsh and loud. Yeah, it's really cathartic. Because it's like all really hardcore music that, like, the way that they're yelling into the microphone is just kind of what you want to get out as well. Yeah, and I think that's what makes a lot of it resonate with me, at least. What about you?
I'm ashamed to say, but when you say cathartic, at the moment, the only song that comes to mind is The Archer by Taylor Swift.
Okay. Like how? Expand on that.
So, the whole song has this, like, you can feel a buildup happening.
Yeah.
And then you hit the bridge and it all comes loose and there's, like, echoes of vocals. And she's just, like, basically all her anxieties sum up to the fact, like, she's wondering, can the muse see right through her? Because she feels like everyone can see right through her and she can see through her own facade and whatnot.
Who is the muse? Like, I'm not caught up on
okay, so
the Archer lore.
No worries. So at the time of the album and its, like, conception, she was dating Joe Alwyn, right?
Okay.
And so
that, like,
he's this British actor.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So supposedly, he is the muse to the song.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
In that regards, have
Yes.
you listened to the Lover album?
No, I
No?
haven't. Yeah.
Okay.
What? Like, why are you asking?
Just because it's like on the album, but also
Yeah. Oh, the Archer is on
the Lover
is
album.
on the Lover album.
But also, most people see the Lover album as a love album when
But
it
it's
isn't.
not.
No,
What is it about, really?
it's a heartbreak. It's
Okay.
it's when you're like in a relationship
Yeah.
and you can see that it's not really working out anymore. Like there are cracks starting to form in the
Okay.
pavement, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the fact that most of the tracks on the album aren't love songs, it's more about like how she's feeling anxious in the relationship and she's really trying to hold on, but they're like always going through this back and forth.
Yeah.
It just really resonates. But, you know, the bubblegum, oh my God, bubblegum cover, you know,
Right.
really
That-
lures people in and tricks
right.
them into thinking it's something else.
It's like a disillusion. And I think also because I think that was the title track, the Lovers song. It's very much sounds and the lyrics sound like it's a romantic love song. So I think that maybe became the sound of the whole album, right? Because she put that out as a single. I think that's like the song maybe most people know off of that. I do know Cruel Summer off of that song, right? That I'd say is a really great pop song. Like that's like one of the best pop songs in a while, I think. It's just really beautiful chorus and like arrangements and stuff like that, I found.
I'd like to share with the audience that I liked that song before it was popular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Are you a fan of like pop music? What other pop music do you like listen to?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm really into Revival by Selena Gomez.
Okay.
I feel like it might be her only album, I think, or one of two,
Yeah.
but it's her best album.
Is this her older?
It's 2015, I think.
Okay. So it's like kind of recent. Yeah.
She's like the co-executive producer, and she tried to like go into a darker image because she was
Right.
reflecting on her relationship with Justin Bieber, right?
Okay.
And
Makes sense. And she's trying to escape the whole Disney
she was.
thing.
Yeah. But good for you. Song of the decade.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Okay. We'll have to play that later.
You will, yeah.
Okay. I think in terms of pop music, I think I grew up listening to like people like Selena and I was a big Ariana Grande fan. Yeah. She had some great songs off of I think that's not what the album's called, but Honeymoon Avenue. Like I think that was the name of the song maybe. I'm blanking, but yeah, she's just an amazing singer, obviously. But yeah, those I grew up kind of listening to that kind of pop music, I think. And right now, I'd say I'm listening to this album by Kimbra. Do you know who that is?
No clue.
Do you know that song, Somebody That I Used to Know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she's the girl on that. She's the feature. She's like an artist from New Zealand. She's like amazing singer and performer. She has a new album out called Idols and Vices, I believe. Yeah, there's a song called Back to You on it, and it's really great. And she, like, the way she kind of manipulates her voice is really beautiful to listen to. I think I'm not really a fan of like the whisper singing and pop, if you know what I mean. Like I really like when they project and like sing, you know, like really belt it out. I think but like I'm kind of gathering you like similar pop music as well.
I like really basic pop music.
That's but like basic meaning that it's mainstream, like
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make it basic. Like
I mean, lyrically, a lot of them are. Sonically, a lot of them
like
are.
about relationships and
About relationships or like whatever they churn out, you know. I'll listen to it.
yeah. Do you resonate with like those kinds of lyrics? Like
Sometimes you're in a relationship that it resonates to. Sometimes love songs, especially in high school, they like I can link them to like schoolwork or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's more of the feeling, I guess. I like to feel what other people are feeling, you know?
Yeah, same. I think a lot of what makes like just art, music in general work is that like they can be singing about something completely different, but you can still find a way to relate to it, right? Even though you haven't experienced it personally. That's what makes it like universal, right? Yeah. What kind of music did you listen to in high school?
So if you ask anyone that was with me in senior year, they'll say Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Because I was big on that for some reason. And, you know, most, like, COVID years, so 9th and 10th grade,
Yeah.
it was mostly, like, indie rock, surf rock, bedroom pop, that type of stuff.
Okay.
I think it was really reminiscent of the time, at least. So,
Yeah.
like, people like Dayglow, some of Doja Cat, some of Wallows, some of Coin.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then I kind of shifted into, like, more electronic stuff. So, like, the Chainsmokers. So, Memories Do Not Open, especially, because that is...
They're electronic? I thought they were like a... like a pop rock band. Like,
No.
They're not? Okay.
No, haven't you listened to Closer?
Oh, yes. With Halsey? Okay. I guess, yeah.
Or, like-
but isn't that more, like, just pop, though? Just, like...
They're kind of... What's it called?
I haven't listened to their other music.
They're
so
not...
I don't know, but...
They used to be more, like, DJs, like, actual
Yeah,
DJs.
okay.
So, like, if you've heard Selfie...
That's by them?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Exactly. And then they kind of, like, shifted.
So they are electronic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. So it's like pop electronic. Okay.
I'd have to say, I guess, yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. Do you know any other, like, electronic artists?
I was really big on Calvin Harris.
Okay.
And then somehow that, like, because I also really like rock,
Yeah.
I found, like, Chase Atlantic.
Yes, yeah.
But, like, I knew their Nostalgia album, right? But I found out they'd, like, drop new songs, and they'd changed their sound a bit, so it was less, like, rock and more, like...
Right.
I don't know what they define themselves as. It's, like,
Just, like-
emo rap rock or something.
Okay.
It depends on who you ask and where you Google.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I still love Chainsmokers to this day. Chainsmokers, Chase Atlantic, all that. So...
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
What did you listen to in high school?
In high school? Okay. So really the big artist was for me was I was mentioning earlier, Kimbra. Like I found her music I think just through YouTube, honestly. And then I watched like a bunch of those like Amoeba What's in My Bag videos of her where she did one where they like they go around shopping and then they pick a couple of albums that they're listening to. And then I kind of like listened to what she was listening to and kind of branched off from there. But yeah, so like those albums would probably like Speaker Box, The Love Below by Outkast. It's like the one that has I think Roses and like Hey Ya on it. So yeah, and then that kind of got me into like hip hop and rap and stuff. Like but like kind of not rap, but like old school like 90s like hip hop and stuff. Yeah, and then there was another one that she picked that was Voodoo by D'Angelo. I don't know if you know that. No. It's like it's great. It's like a funk kind of R&B album, and that again kind of naturally led me to other R&B artists, funk as well. Like Brandy and like Mary J. Blige and stuff like that. Yeah, and then there was in terms of electronic artists, there was also one by a Japanese musician called by Cornelius, and yeah, like he has like really unconventional like arrangements, and the syncopation in his songs, like the beats and stuff in his music is really cool that I found, and then like from there I also got into. Yeah, it was like a lot of it was me finding one artist and then kind of figuring out what they were listening to and then listening to that. And yeah, just like by association and finding new music that way. But yeah, like I was listening to everything, honestly. But I think I graduated around when COVID happened. And when that happened, I got really into rock music. So I'm kind of like embarrassed to say this, but it was like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any of their music?
Are they the ones that did Californication?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like that song?
I do.
Yeah. Okay, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think what throws me off sometimes, and like probably a lot of people off from their music, is like Anthony Kiedis' voice. Like he almost like rap sings on it. Like it's like almost like he's doing like slam poetry sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really sing on some songs. Like he raps kind of. It's like it's because they kind of started out as very like punk rock,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of punk music is them kind of talk singing, right? Like, you know, like they're just kind of speaking, not really singing a melody. But yeah, like I got really into the Chili Peppers for some reason. I can't remember how, but I got really into them during COVID, and then I got into Britpop, like Blur, Oasis, and things like that. Do you like Blur and Oasis? Or do you like Britpop in general?
No.
Have you listened to any?
Does One Direction count?
I guess, honestly, yeah. They're like the third wave, I guess, of them. They were more recent. Because it was like the Beatles and like Rolling Stones were like the first, what do you call it? British Invasion.
Yeah.
And then you had Oasis and Blur, and also like other great bands like Suede and Pulp. Pulp's my personal favorite. And then I guess they could technically be called like the third.
People say that the third, but I also heard that they could be the fourth, and that the third was like solo artists, and people
That's
are like
true.
Charlie XCX.
I think we were just talking about like bands and boy bands, but
is it limited to just bands? The
I
British
honestly
Invasion?
have no idea. I don't know what people categorize.
I don't know.
But yeah, Charlie XCX definitely. I feel like even before Brat, she was making very big hits, like in the
Boom Clap.
The Fault in Our Stars movie. She did that, and that blew up. And then the Vroom Vroom song that kind of became like a meme almost. Yeah, and then she did like, she had a bunch of songs with like Haim, that sister girl.
Do you listen to Haim?
I listened to them a lot in high school. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you?
I only know one song. I know
Which song?
Gasoline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to them a lot. Have you listened to Greta Van Fleet?
No.
Do you know who they
show up, and I always go, I'll listen to them later. Yeah. And then for some reason, I picture her as like a little girl holding a guitar, and then I'm like, next time.
They're like a band of like three brothers and a friend. But yeah, I also got into them like near the end of high school as well. I think they got a lot of hate for like ripping off Led Zeppelin. I don't know if you've actually heard if you got a chance to listen to it, but they make like kind of classic rock. They're trying to bring that kind of sound back, and like they do a good job at it. But you can definitely tell that they're influenced by Led Zeppelin, but also a lot of other like classic rock bands too. But yeah, I got into them in high school as well. That just reminded me because Haim is also like a sibling group too. Yeah, there are a lot of great bands with siblings if you think about it. Radiohead
Radiohead are siblings?
Yeah, the bassist and guitarist are brothers, Colin and Johnny. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones.
R5, which is now the Driver era. It's Ross Lynch and his brother.
Okay, I see. His brother is...
Yeah, Rocky.
Was he like a child actor too, or no?
No, they were in a child band together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he was just doing the acting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
I don't really know much bands that aren't like Disney, you know. There's like the McLean sisters, I know that, with China and McLean.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know she had a sister. I thought it was just...
She has like two or three, and they had a band together.
She has that great Halloween song, Monster.
I love that song.
That's a classic.
It is.
Yeah. Interesting.
What's your favorite Halloween song?
That's... Okay, so... I've been listening to a lot of like goth music recently. I think Lucretia is how you say it, by Sisters of Mercy. They're like a goth rock band. Really anything by Sushi and the Banshees. also not like a artist, but it's the soundtrack off of this movie called Phantom of the Paradise. It's about like this composer who sells his soul for, you know, fame and popularity. Kind of the old tale of like rock and roll music. It's like a metaphor for the music industry. But yeah, it's a really great kind of camp B movie, horror movie, and it has a great soundtrack, unironically, because I think the guy who wrote it, or wrote some of the songs, he's also the actor in the movie, was a singer himself in a band. So yeah, there's one song off there where they do this big musical act. It's a great, I think, Halloween themed song. What about you?
The only one I know is C'est Halloween.
It's a French song.
It is French.
By who?
I have no clue who the artist is.
Okay.
They just put it on when we were little, and everyone would listen to it.
It's like a classic. Like
it is.
When was it released? Like,
don't ask me questions.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's like an older song. It's like,
I think so.
It's not a recent one. Okay.
It's like early 2000s or maybe late 90s.
Okay.
And I think literally everyone that I've ever met that's gone to like a French school or French immersion school
knows the song.
So
it's one of those like classic songs.
Indeed, it's a staple.
It's a staple. Interesting. Okay. Do you have any French music recommendations?
French music recommendations? Yeah. Well, I really like Soleil by, I forgot her name. I think it's like May something, Rose May.
Okay.
She's
like a solo artist?
She is a solo artist, and she's from Quebec.
Okay.
And she doesn't have a lot of streams, which I don't get, because a lot of her music, it's like really good, really catchy pop, but not like in a repetitive sense. Like,
so she's underrated.
She is extremely underrated, and she's been making music for a while now. Okay. And I'll always check in on her streams. But yeah.
If she blows up later, you can say you were a fan from the beginning.
Yeah, no, now I have this. I have proof.
Yeah. You have proof. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I've been listening to like old French music, kind of like there's this band called Niagara. I don't know if you know them, but
heard of them.
Yeah. And then there's also Angèle, I think.
Angèle,
she's like a new artist. I think. And Damso, I think, is like a French rapper that's on her track or something.
I don't really listen to French rap. But
Yeah. He was like a feature on there. But yeah, I think those are those are like the more modern artists. And there's also one called like Juliette Armanet or something like that. I don't know if you know. She's more pop.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she makes really great pop music, I think. I think that if she was like, I think she's popular here, maybe, but I think if she's singing in English, like, her songs would be, like, a lot more popular than they are.
A lot of these artists, like, they have really good voices, a lot of good songs, and then it's just the language barrier is the reason why they don't get, like, as much streams or whatever.
Yeah.
Which really sucks, honestly, because, you know, music is is a language in itself, and it transcends basic, really English, French, and whatnot.
It really is, yeah. Yeah, there's so much amazing music out there that your people kind of limit themselves to just because they don't want to get past the language barrier. Like, there's so many great, like, Spanish, Brazilian artists. Like, because some of my friends have introduced me to that. It, like, K-pop, right? Like, it's a huge, huge genre as well. Do you listen to any K-pop?
Occasionally, like, because, like, my sisters are really into it.
Yeah.
And I tell them I hate it, but I do secretly enjoy some songs.
Yeah.
Like, TXT has some really good songs. Lover Equals Loser or something like that, I think.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah.
They had an album released, like, 2 years ago. I think it's... I don't remember the name. The name is cringe. I'm not going to say.
It's okay. But you don't have to try.
The aesthetics related to the album, it's, like, desire and, like, passion and, like, nectar. So the choreographies, the costumes, the covers, all that are, like, made to, like, put that out. And I just loved it. I practiced the dance. That's how into it I was.
You learned the choreography?
For Sugar Rush Ride by TXT. Wow. It's a really good song.
Okay. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with. I like used to do that too with a lot of BTS songs in like middle school. But actually, like my first K-pop group was EXO. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Overdose, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like kind of second generation K-pop. Yeah, like SHINee. They had some really great songs. Their song, Overdose, and like songs like that and Call Me Baby. I don't know if you've heard of that one. Those songs were produced, if I remember correctly, by the president of the Grammys, I think. Right
really?
Now. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was like the president and CEO, I don't know, but he used to like, I guess, produce a lot of music for these K-pop groups. And even like it's not a new recent thing. Like it's been known that a lot of like American producers will make songs for these K-pop groups, and yeah, that's kind of a big reason why a lot of them are just so good, like really high replay value because, just like the beats and like the arrangements are really, it's you wouldn't hear that in a generic like pop song, I guess. But yeah, like those older songs are like amazing. Just one of like really great pop songs you wouldn't hear today. Like you said earlier, like they're pop, but they're not like those generic.
No, they really stand
songs.
out.
Yeah,
I think the first song I listened to, I think it's also second gen, was I think it's called Just Right by GOT7.
Yes, yeah, that's a classic.
Love that song. Also learned the dance for it.
You did too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was obsessed with it.
Can you show us? No,
absolutely not. No. Was obsessed with the music video.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's something that we really don't get in pop anymore. Like the music video was a tool. It was made to like tell a story on top of the story that we were presented.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, like Western pop lost the art of making music videos, and K-pop really picked that up and adapted it into something else.
In K-pop, it's like such a big deal because they do like countdowns down to the release of it, and like like streams are so important. I think like probably they take it a lot more seriously than they do over here.
Yeah, they do.
Because their fans are just extremely passionate about their idols and stuff like that. But yeah, and that's like another thing too. Like it's become all about the numbers nowadays. But yeah, but I mean, like that's not what makes you a fan. You know, if you're hunched up at midnight, like like if you're a fan because you like the music, right? So okay, yeah, it was nice talking to you today. Thanks for being on. And thank you all for listening, and have a great rest of your Monday.